The lone messenger. The silent expanse of deep space stretched endlessly before Captain Nadia Reeves as she guided her small reconnaissance vessel through the uncharted region beyond the Proxima Centauri system. 6 months into her solo exploration mission, she had grown accustomed to the solitude. Her ship, the Pathfinder, was Earth's most advanced scout vessel, compact, agile, and equipped with prototype stealth technology that rendered it virtually invisible to most detection systems. Just another routine sweep, Nadia muttered to herself, brushing a strand of copper hair from her face as she checked the ship's sensors. The mission was straightforward: map the mysterious radiation anomalies that had been detected at the edge of human space. Intelligence suggested they might be naturally occurring phenomena, but with humanity's recent expansion into the stars, caution was warranted. The first indication that something was wrong came when her long-range scanners began picking up unusual energy signatures. The readings made no sense, massive power fluctuations unlike anything in Earth's database. "Computer, analyze energy signature and compare to known sources," Nadia commanded, her brow furrowing as she studied the readouts. "Analysis complete," the ship's AI responded. "No match found in database. Energy pattern consistent with advanced propulsion technology of unknown origin." A chill ran down Nadia's spine. Magnify visual on source coordinates. The view screen flickered, and what appeared made her blood run cold. A vast fleet of ships, hundreds, perhaps thousands, arranged in precise formation. The vessels were unlike anything humanity had encountered before: massive, crystalline structures with pulsating energy cores, their hulls adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. "My God," she whispered. The fleet was enormous, clearly built for war and heading directly toward human space. Years of training kicked in. Nadia immediately activated the Pathfinder's stealth systems and began recording every detail her sensors could capture. If this was a hostile force, Earth needed to know, and fast. She was about to initiate a transmission when her proximity alarm screamed. 3 smaller vessels had detached from the main fleet and were moving in her direction with alarming speed. "Impossible," she muttered. "They shouldn't be able to detect me." But they had. The Pathfinder's experimental stealth technology, so effective against human and known alien sensors, was apparently useless against whatever these beings used for detection. Nadia's hands flew across the controls, pushing the ship's engines to maximum as she executed a series of evasive maneuvers. For a moment, it seemed to work. The pursuing ships fell behind as she dived beneath the plane of the fleet. Then came the impact. A beam of energy unlike anything in Earth's arsenal struck the Pathfinder's port side. The ship shuddered violently, systems failing across all decks. "Hull breach in sections 3 through 7, the computer reported dispassionately. "Life support at 60% and falling." Another hit sent Nadia crashing against the control panel. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead as she fought to keep the ship operational. "Reroute power to engines and shields," she ordered. "We need to get clear enough for a hyperspace jump." The Pathfinder lurched forward, but the pursuing ships remained in formation behind her, methodically closing the distance. Another blast took out her main engines. "Warning, critical system failure," the computer announced. "Hyperspace capability offline." Nadia knew then that escape was impossible. Her mission now had a new priority: ensure that her data reached Earth. With trembling hands, she activated the emergency beacon and uploaded everything her sensors had gathered about the alien fleet. "Computer, initiate Protocol Omega," she said, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her heart. "Encrypt all data and transmit on quantum channel." "A transmitting," the computer confirmed. Just as she was about to activate the ship's self-destruct sequence, the entire vessel was suddenly bathed in a strange, pulsating light. The controls went dead. The ship stopped moving. "Computer status report," Nadia shouted, but the AI remained silent. A deep, resonant hum filled the cabin. The last thing Nadia saw before losing consciousness was her own reflection in the view screen, a single human silhouette against the backdrop of an alien armada. When Nadia awoke, she was no longer on the Pathfinder. She lay on a cold, metallic surface in a chamber bathed in a soft, blue-green light. The air had a strange, metallic tang, and gravity felt slightly stronger than Earth normal. She sat up slowly, fighting a wave of dizziness. Her flight suit was intact, but her communications gear and personal weapons were gone. The chamber was circular, with smooth walls that seemed to shift subtly, as if not quite solid. Hello, she called out, her voice echoing strangely in the alien space. A section of the wall rippled and parted, revealing a tall, humanoid figure. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent skin that reflected the chamber's light in mesmerizing patterns. Its face featured 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and where a human mouth would be, it had a series of small, vibrating membranes. "You are awake," the alien said, its voice resonating directly in Nadia's mind rather than through sound waves. "You are the first human to be brought before the Caldraxian Empire." Nadia stood, forcing her legs to remain steady. "I am Captain Nadia Reeves of the Earth Exploration Service. My mission is peaceful. Why have you attacked my vessel and taken me prisoner?" The alien's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "I am Commander Vexker. Your vessel was detected scanning our battle fleet, an act of espionage. Furthermore, you transmitted data before capture." Nadia maintained a neutral expression, though inwardly she felt a surge of relief. Her transmission had gone through before they captured her. "I was on a scientific mission," she lied smoothly. "When I encountered unknown vessels, I followed standard protocol to document and report." Vexker made a gesture, and the wall behind him displayed images of Earth and its colonies. "Your species has expanded rapidly in recent years. Your technology evolves at an alarming rate. The High Council has determined that humans represent a future threat to the stability of the galactic order." The realization hit Nadia like a physical blow. "You're planning to attack Earth." "Not attack," Vexker corrected. "Preemptive containment. Your species will be restricted to your home world with appropriate technological limitations imposed. Resistance would result in more severe measures." "Earth will never accept containment," Nadia said firmly. "We have the right to explore and expand peacefully just like any other species." Vexker's membranes vibrated in what Nadia interpreted as amusement. "Your confidence is misplaced. The Caldraxian Empire has subjugated 17 spacefaring civilizations. Many were more advanced than yours. Then why not open diplomatic relations instead of planning an invasion?" "Diplomacy is inefficient with potentially dangerous species," Vexker replied. "You will be studied to better understand human vulnerabilities. Your cooperation will determine whether your world faces minimal or significant casualties during pacification." After Vexker left, Nadia was alone for what felt like hours. She meticulously examined her cell, looking for any weakness. The walls responded to touch, hardening when pressed with force but yielding slightly to gentle pressure, some kind of adaptive material she couldn't comprehend. The door rippled again, and a smaller Caldraxian entered carrying what appeared to be containers of food and water. This one's skin was paler, with subtle blue markings along its arms. "Sustenance," it said, the mental voice notably different from Vexker's, younger, less authoritative. "Thank you," Nadia replied, studying the alien carefully. "Do you have a name?" The alien hesitated. "Trezek, I am assigned to ensure your biological needs are met." Nadia took the containers cautiously. "The commander seems convinced that my world will easily fall to your empire." Trezak's membranes quivered slightly. "Commander Vexker has never known defeat, few in the Empire have. Our technological superiority is absolute." "Yet you're concerned about humans," Nadia observed. "Why fear a species so far behind yours?" "I did not say we fear humans," Trezak responded quickly. "The Council's predictive models indicate your species would become problematic within 3 of your centuries. Containment is logical." Nadia sipped the water-like liquid cautiously. It tasted strange but not unpleasant. "And you, do you believe containment is logical?" Trezak was silent for a moment. "It is not my place to question the High Council's decisions." "But you have doubts," Nadia pressed. "I have studied your species," Trezak admitted. "Your adaptability is unusual. Most species follow predictable evolutionary and technological trajectories. And humans don't. No, you advance in unexpected ways. You survived catastrophes that should have ended your civilization multiple times. The Council finds this concerning." Nadia nodded slowly. "Where I come from, we have a saying, never corner something that you know is more dangerous than you." Trezek's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "An interesting philosophy. Rest now. Commander Vexker will return for your formal interrogation soon." As Trezek left, Nadia allowed herself a small smile. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had captured her, but they'd allowed her warning to reach Earth. And from her conversation with Trezak, she sensed something the Caldraxians didn't yet understand about humanity. They thought they were preventing a future threat. They didn't realize they were creating an immediate one. Across the vast emptiness of space, Nadia's quantum transmission reached Earth. General Marcus Blackwood stared at the data streaming across his screen, his weathered face grim as the full implications became clear. "How many ships?" he asked the analyst beside him. "At least 3,000, sir. Technology far beyond anything we've encountered." Blackwood's eyes narrowed, and Captain Reeves. "No escape pod signal. We must assume she's been captured or killed." The general nodded slowly, then pressed a button on his console. "This is General Blackwood. Initiate Protocol Thunderchild. Authorization Zeus Omega 73. The storm is coming." Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began to power up. Earth was far from defenseless. Humanity had been preparing for this moment since it first looked to the stars. The Empire awakens. In the Grand Assembly Chamber of the Caldraxian flagship, the Sovereign Blade, 12 High Counselors gathered around a circular table of shifting liquid metal. Above them, a holographic projection displayed the human prisoner, Captain Nadia Reeves, as she paced her cell. 3 days had passed since her capture, and the interrogation sessions had yielded little useful intelligence. Grand Admiral Jorax, the highest-ranking military leader of the Caldraxian Empire, gestured impatiently at the projection. "This single human continues to resist our most advanced cognitive probes. How is this possible?" Commander Vexker stood rigidly at attention. "The human brain architecture differs significantly from other species we've encountered. Their neural pathways reorganize during questioning, adapting to our methods." "Or perhaps your methods are flawed," sneered Counselor Midrax, his skin flushing a deep purple with displeasure. "We approach the human system with only fragments of intelligence. This prisoner should have provided complete defensive capabilities by now." Vexker's membranes tightened, a sign of controlled anger. "The human employs mental techniques unknown to us. When we access critical military memories, her mind generates overwhelming emotional responses that corrupt the data. Primitive emotional interference should not defeat Caldraxian technology," Jorax said dismissively. A smaller Caldraxian stepped forward hesitantly. It was Trezak, who had been summoned to report on the prisoner's biological needs. "If I may speak, honored counselors," Trezak began, membranes quivering with nervousness. "I have observed the human during feeding periods. There is something you should understand about this species." "Speak, junior observer," Jorax permitted with obvious impatience. "This human knows she will likely die. She knows her world may fall, yet there is no despair in her, only resolve. In my studies of Earth transmissions, I've found this is not unique to her but common among humans. They call it defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. They glorify it in their history and entertainment." The counselors exchanged glances, their skin colors shifting subtly. "A psychological curiosity, nothing more," Midrax dismissed. "With respect," Trezak continued, emboldened, "the prisoner transmitted a warning before capture. She succeeded in her mission. Now she acts not from fear of failure but from certainty of success. She simply needs to delay us." A heavy silence fell over the chamber. "Delay us for what?" Jorax finally asked. "Their primitive fleet, their rudimentary planetary defenses, what could they possibly?" The chamber's alert system suddenly blared to life. A senior tactical officer burst through the doors, his skin pale with alarm. "Grand Admiral, multiple hyperspace ruptures detected at the edge of the fleet's perimeter." The holographic display shifted immediately, revealing dozens of vessels emerging from hyperspace. But unlike anything the Caldraxians had expected, these ships were massive, sleek gunmetal gray behemoths with angular hulls that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. "Impossible," whispered Jorax. "These are not consistent with Earth's known technological level." "Unknown configuration," reported the tactical officer. "Energy signatures exceed our frontline battlecruisers by at least 40%. As the Council watched in stunned silence, more ships continued to emerge from hyperspace, smaller, faster vessels taking up escort positions around the larger ships. At the center of the formation appeared a vessel of staggering proportions, easily twice the size of the Sovereign Blade. "They were prepared for us," Vexker realized aloud. "How? Our invasion plans were known only to the High Council." In her cell, Nadia smiled as she felt the subtle vibration through the floor, the unmistakable resonance of a fleet shifting to battle stations. She had been counting the hours, knowing exactly when Earth's response would arrive. The door to her cell rippled open and Trezek rushed in, all four eyes wide with alarm. "What is happening?" the young Caldraxian demanded. "Your people have ships that should be beyond their capability. How is this possible?" Nadia's smile grew wider. "Did you really think we'd show our true technological level in our broadcasts and public space programs, that we'd reveal our military capacity to the galaxy at large? But the intelligence we gathered was exactly what we wanted potential hostiles to see," Nadia finished for him. "Humanity learned long ago to keep its true strength hidden. What your empire interpreted as a rapidly developing but still inferior civilization was merely the surface. Beneath it lies the Earth Defense Force, built in secret over the past 50 years, ever since we detected the first alien signals and realized we weren't alone." Trezak's membranes fluttered in distress. "You deceived an entire galaxy." "We protected ourselves," Nadia corrected. "And now I suggest you make a choice, Trezak, because what happens next depends on whether your leaders are wise enough to negotiate or foolish enough to fight." On the bridge of the Earth Command vessel Deterrent, General Marcus Blackwood stood with his hands clasped behind his back, surveying the Caldraxian fleet through the massive viewscreen. Beside him, Ambassador Josephine Wagner prepared for the most important diplomatic exchange in human history. "Transmission ready, sir," reported Communications Officer Hernandez. "The Caldraxians have accepted the connection." Blackwood nodded to Wagner. "Make our position clear, Ambassador." Wagner stepped forward, her silver-streaked black hair pulled back in a severe bun, her expression unyielding. The viewscreen flickered, revealing the imposing figure of Grand Admiral Jorax. "This is Ambassador Josephine Wagner representing the United Earth Government. You have captured an Earth citizen and approached our territory with clear hostile intent. We demand the immediate release of Captain Nadia Reeves and the withdrawal of your fleet from Earth space." Jorax's upper eyes narrowed. "Your demands are noted, human. However, your civilization has been designated for containment by decree of the Caldraxian High Council. Your unexpected military presence is concerning but ultimately irrelevant. The Caldraxian Empire has never been defeated in war." Wagner's expression remained impassive. "There's always a first time, Admiral, but we would prefer to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. As a gesture of good faith, allow me to share something with you." She nodded to someone off-screen, and the transmission shifted to show a series of images, planets unknown to the Caldraxians, alien species they had never encountered, and vessels of designs that matched neither human nor Caldraxian architecture. "What you're seeing are Earth's allies, 12 spacefaring civilizations from beyond the sector your empire has explored. Some have been in contact with us for decades, sharing technology and establishing mutual defense pacts." The transmission returned to Wagner's face. "You thought you were containing a potential future threat. In reality, you were stumbling into a well-established alliance of civilizations that have been watching your empire's expansion with growing concern." Back on the Sovereign Blade, the High Council exploded into chaos. "Verification," demanded Jorax, turning to his intelligence officers. "The data appears authentic," came the reluctant response. "These are regions beyond our exploratory range. We cannot confirm or deny their claims." Counselor Midrax slammed his fist on the liquid metal table, sending ripples across its surface. "This is deception, a desperate bluff from a cornered species." "Is it?" Vexker questioned, studying the tactical displays. "Their ships show technology beyond what should be possible for their development timeline, if they have indeed formed alliances with more advanced species." Trezak had escorted Nadia to the bridge under the pretense of further interrogation, but his true purpose was becoming clear to the captain. The young Caldraxian was hedging his bets, ensuring he would be viewed favorably should negotiations become the chosen path. "Your commander Vexker doesn't seem pleased to see me on the bridge," Nadia observed quietly. "He believes you should remain confined until the situation is resolved," Trezak admitted. "I convinced Grand Admiral Jorax that your presence might be useful in verifying your ambassador's claims." Nadia took in the atmosphere of barely controlled panic on the bridge. Officers moved with hurried purpose, battle stations were manned, and tactical displays showed the Caldraxian fleet shifting into defensive formations. Your empire made a fundamental miscalculation, she told Trezek. You assumed that because we're young as a spacefaring species, we must be naive. The truth is, humanity's history is written in warfare and diplomacy. We've spent thousands of years fighting each other, learning every possible way to gain advantage over an opponent, whether through strength or guile. Before Trezek could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. The tactical display showed a new development. Smaller Earth vessels had somehow penetrated the Caldraxian defensive screen and were moving into position around key command ships. How did they bypass our sensors? Vexker demanded. Stealth technology, Nadia answered, loud enough for the commander to hear. The same type my primitive scout ship was equipped with, just more advanced versions. Jorex turned to face her, his massive frame towering over the human captain. Your species plays a dangerous game, human. If this escalates to full combat, millions will die, including your precious Earth. That's why I'm here, Nadia replied calmly, to offer you a way out, one that doesn't end with your fleet scattered across this sector in pieces. You dare threaten? It's not a threat, Nadia interrupted. It's a reality. Look at your tactical displays. Earth ships have your command vessels targeted. Your sensors can't track our stealth craft. And even if you landed a lucky hit on Earth, our colonies and allies would ensure the complete dismantling of your empire. She stepped closer to the Grand Admiral, fearless despite the difference in their size. But there's another option: diplomatic relations, trade agreements, cultural exchange. The Caldraxian Empire could gain more through peaceful cooperation with Earth and its allies than it ever could through conquest. For several tense moments, the bridge was silent save for the soft beeping of monitoring systems. Then, slowly, Jorex's skin shifted to a calmer blue hue. You are either the bravest or most foolish human I have encountered, he said finally. But your point is made. Perhaps the High Council's assessment of humanity requires reconsideration. Out in space, the two fleets remained in standoff formation, hundreds of Caldraxian vessels facing the smaller but technologically superior Earth Defense Force. On the deterrent, General Blackwood received the transmission he had been waiting for. Sir, the Caldraxians are requesting a cessation of hostilities and formal diplomatic talks. They've agreed to release Captain Reeves as a gesture of good faith. Blackwood allowed himself a small smile, inform Ambassador Wagner, and prep the conference room for negotiations. Hours later, aboard a neutral vessel positioned between the two fleets, Nadia sat across from Trezek as human and Caldraxian diplomats discussed terms in the main chamber. Your plan worked perfectly, Trezek observed. You allowed yourself to be captured knowing your warning would reach Earth in time. Nadia shook her head. Not exactly. Getting captured wasn't part of the plan, but making the most of it was pure human adaptation. The alliance you mentioned with 12 other civilizations, is it real? Trezek asked hesitantly. Nadia smiled enigmatically. Let's just say the Caldraxian Empire would be wise to proceed as if it is. Perception often shapes reality. Trezek's membranes vibrated in what Nadia now recognized as amusement. You humans are dangerous indeed, not because of your weapons, but because of how your minds work. That's the lesson here, Nadia agreed. Humanity isn't dangerous because of what we can build, but because of what we can become when challenged. We adapt, we evolve, we transform, sometimes overnight. She looked out the viewport at the assembled fleets, former enemies now cautiously exploring the possibility of peace. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. The day the Caldraxian Empire learned that some species are best approached with an open hand rather than a closed fist. And the day humanity announced its presence to the wider galaxy, Trezek added. Nadia nodded, her eyes fixed on the stars beyond. Yes, for better or worse, the galaxy will never be the same now that humanity has awakened.